You can sit down to a breakfast that almost everyone calls healthy and still watch your blood sugar climb, quietly, without a single warning sign you'd recognize. No candy, no donuts, no soda. Just the kind of meal your doctor, your friends, and every magazine told you was the right choice. And that's the part that feels so unfair, isn't it? You're doing what you were told, you're trying, and the numbers still don't add up. If that's ever happened to you, stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 3 breakfasts that look healthy on the surface, but can quietly spike your blood sugar, drain your energy, and leave you hungry again long before lunch. And the third one is the one that fools almost everyone, even people who've been careful for years. Let me describe a morning, and you tell me if it sounds like yours. You eat what feels like a smart breakfast, something light, something good for you, and for about an hour you feel fine. Then it hits, that heavy, foggy feeling behind your eyes, the kind of tired that makes you want to sit down, even though the day just started. Or maybe it's not the tiredness, maybe it's the hunger. You ate a real meal, and somehow you're already thinking about food again before it's even 10 in the morning. And you wonder what's wrong with you because you did eat. You're sure you did. But here's the part that wears people down the most. It isn't the tiredness, it isn't the hunger, it's the confusion. Because you're not being careless. You're reading the labels. You're picking the whole grain option. You skipped the pastry at the cafe. You did everything the way you were supposed to. So when the next blood test comes back a little higher than last time, or the scale just won't budge, or your energy keeps dipping in the afternoon, a quiet thought creeps in. Maybe I just don't understand my own body anymore. I want you to hear this clearly, because almost nobody says it out loud. You are not failing. You were simply never shown the full picture. And once you see it, a lot of things that never made sense are going to click into place. So before we go any further, do me one small favor. If you've ever felt that exact frustration, doing everything right and still feeling let down by your own results, type the word "me" down in the comments. Just me. I read them, and it helps me understand who I'm really making this for. And honestly, you'll be surprised how many people are about to type the same thing. Now let's clear up what's actually happening inside your body. And I'll keep this simple, because you don't need a science degree to take back control. You just need the one piece nobody bothered to explain. When you eat, certain foods break down into sugar in your bloodstream. That's normal. That is not the enemy. Your body was built to handle it. The problem isn't that sugar shows up. The problem is how fast it shows up. Think of your blood sugar like a campfire. When you toss in a handful of dry twigs and paper, the fire roars up fast. A big, bright flame, a lot of heat, and then it dies just as quickly, leaving you cold and reaching for more. But when you set a solid log on the fire, it burns slow and steady. It lasts. It keeps you warm for hours without you having to feed it again and again. A lot of so-called healthy breakfasts are basically twigs and paper. They burn fast. Your blood sugar shoots up, your body scrambles to pull it back down, and an hour later you crash, tired, foggy, and hungry all over again. So what turns twigs into a log? 3 quiet helpers: fiber, protein, and a little fat. Fiber works like a net. It slows the sugar down so it trickles in, instead of flooding in all at once. Protein is the steady anchor. It keeps you full, and it keeps that rise gentle. And fat is the brake pedal. It slows the whole meal down, so nothing hits too hard, too fast. When a breakfast has those 3 working together, the rise is slow and smooth. You stay full, you stay clear-headed, you stay steady, right through the morning, but strip them away. And that is exactly what these popular breakfasts do. And you're left with the spike, the crash, the fog, the hunger that comes back too soon. Now, one honest thing before we go further, because I won't pretend it's identical for everyone. Your body is not a chart in a textbook. Two people can eat the very same breakfast and respond in completely different ways. Your age, your sleep, your stress, your medications, even how much you walked yesterday. All of it changes the picture. So treat what I'm about to show you as a map, not a strict set of rules. This isn't about fear. It's about finally being able to see what's going on. And once you can spot the pattern, you'll start noticing it everywhere. Starting with breakfast number one. Breakfast number one, the one almost everyone trusts. A warm bowl of oatmeal. And I want to be fair here. Oats are not bad for you. Real oats have fiber, they have a place, so please don't walk away thinking I'm telling you to throw out your oatmeal. I'm not. But here's the catch most people never hear. The oatmeal that ends up in a lot of kitchens isn't really that slow-burning log we talked about. It's the quick kind, the instant packets, the little flavored pouches that say things like maple, brown sugar, apple cinnamon right on the front. And the moment a food is made to cook in 60 seconds, it's been broken down for you in advance, which means your body barely has to work to turn it into sugar. It rushes in, fast. Now add the flavor. A single one of those sweetened packets can carry as much added sugar as a small cookie. You're not eating a quiet, steady breakfast anymore. You're eating twigs and paper with a sprinkle of sugar on top. And then there's the part people miss entirely. Even plain oatmeal all by itself is mostly one thing: carbohydrate. There's no real protein in that bowl. There's no fat to pump the brakes. So even the clean version, eaten alone, can send your blood sugar up faster than you'd ever guess. Who does this hit the hardest? The people trying the hardest, the ones who pour a plain bowl, skip the butter, skip the eggs, skip anything heavy because they think they're being good. They strip the meal down to almost pure fast carbs, and then wonder why they're starving by 10:30. So what's the fix? You don't have to give up your morning bowl. You just have to stop letting it ride alone. Reach for the slower oats when you can, the old-fashioned rolled kind, or steel cut if you have the time. They take longer to cook for a reason. Your body takes longer to break them down too. Then build the log. Stir in a spoonful of nut butter or a small handful of walnuts or seeds. Add a couple of eggs on the side. Drop in some berries instead of that sugary packet. Now you've got fiber, protein and fat all in one bowl. Same oatmeal, completely different morning. And if that one small change already made something click for you, if you just realized why your healthy oatmeal has been leaving you tired, do me a quick favor and tap the like button right now. I know it's a small thing, but it genuinely pushes this video out to other people who've spent years confused by the exact same bowl. You'd be helping someone who's just as frustrated as you were a few minutes ago. That's it. Then let's keep going. Because breakfast number 2 is one people feel proud of. And that's exactly what makes it so sneaky. The smoothie, the fresh juice, the big green drink with the fruit and the spinach and the promise of clean energy. On paper, it sounds untouchable. Fruit, vegetables, natural. No processed junk. You blend it up, you drink it down, and you feel like you just did something good for your body. And sometimes you did. It depends entirely on what went in the blender. That's the trap. Two smoothies can look almost the same and behave like two completely different meals inside you. Here's what tends to go wrong. When you blend fruit, or worse, when you juice it, you break apart the very structure that was supposed to slow the sugar down. Remember the net? Blending tears holes in it. Juicing throws it out completely. What's left is sweetness with nothing holding it back. Then there's the amount. Think about how much fruit actually goes into one of these. A banana, a big scoop of berries, maybe a mango, some pineapple, a splash of juice to help it blend. You would almost never sit down and eat all of that fruit at once with a fork. But blended into a drink, it goes down in 90 seconds. All that sugar arriving all at once. And liquids have one more quiet problem. They don't fill you up the way real solid food does. Your body doesn't quite register a drink as a meal, so the sugar comes in fast, and the fullness barely shows up. You're hungry again before you know it. Who gets caught the most here? Often the most health-minded people of all. The ones who swapped their breakfast for a clean smoothie, thinking they were doing everything right. The fruit-heavy, juice-based, no-protein kind hits hardest of all. But here's the good news. A smoothie can absolutely be one of the best breakfasts you eat. You just have to build it like a meal, not a dessert. Flip the ratio. Let vegetables lead and fruit play a small supporting role. A handful of greens, and just half a banana or a few berries for taste, not a fruit salad in a cup. Then add your anchors, a scoop of protein or some plain Greek yogurt. And the breaks, a spoon of nut butter, a few seeds, a little avocado for creaminess. Now your net is back. Now you've got protein and fat. Now that drink burns slow instead of fast. Same blender, same 2 minutes. A completely different result in your blood. So that's two. The oatmeal that needed a partner, the smoothie that needed a backbone. Small changes, both of them. Nothing extreme, nothing you have to suffer through. But the third one is different, because this one doesn't just look healthy. It's been sold to you as healthy, on the label, on purpose. And that's exactly why it slips past so many careful people. Breakfast number 3. The parfait. The little cup of yogurt with the granola sprinkled on top, maybe a drizzle of honey, a few berries. It looks light. It looks clean. It practically glows with health. And the label backs it up. Protein, probiotics. Good for your gut. Low fat. Everything you've been told to look for. This is the one people reach for and think, finally, here's a breakfast I don't have to feel guilty about. That's exactly why it's the most deceiving of the three. Let's start with the yogurt. Plain yogurt is genuinely wonderful. But most flavored yogurt on the shelf, the vanilla, the strawberry, the fruit on the bottom, has been sweetened heavily. Some single cups carry as much sugar as a candy bar. You're tasting fruit and feeling virtuous, but a lot of what's in there is just sugar wearing a healthy costume. Then comes the word that fools the most careful shoppers of all. Low fat. It sounds like the responsible choice, but remember what fat does. It's the brake pedal. When the food makers pull the fat out, the meal speeds up. And to make low-fat yogurt taste good again, they usually pour more sugar back in. So the very thing marketed as the lighter option can spike you faster than the full-fat one ever would. Now add the granola. This is where it really gets people. Granola wears the costume better than anything in the store. It looks rustic, wholesome, like something off a mountain trail. But most granola is oats glued together with sugar and oil and baked until it's crunchy. Spoon for spoon, it can be closer to a dessert than a health food. You think you're adding a healthy topping, you're really adding candy with a tan. Put it all together. Sweetened yogurt, no fat to slow it down, a heap of sugary granola, a drizzle of honey on top. And that innocent little cup can hit your blood sugar harder than some of the breakfasts you'd never let yourself touch. And who does it catch? The most careful eaters of all, the label readers, the ones who chose this cup precisely because it said all the right words. They did their homework. The packaging just didn't tell the truth. So here's the fix, and it's an easy one. Start with plain yogurt, and yes, let it have some fat in it. Then you become the one who sweetens it, not a factory. A few real berries, a little cinnamon, a small drizzle of honey if you like, where you control the amount. Then trade the candied granola for a small handful of nuts or seeds. Now you've got real protein, real fat, real fiber, and a spoonful of sweetness you actually chose. Same cup, same idea. A completely different morning. And just like that, you've seen all three. Now I want you to step back and notice what really happened here, because this matters more than any single breakfast. Think about where you were a few minutes ago. Standing in your kitchen, doing everything right and still feeling let down. Reading labels you couldn't fully trust. Eating healthy meals that left you tired and hungry and quietly worried about your next test. Feeling like your own body had become a stranger you couldn't read anymore. That low hum of confusion every single morning. Now look at where you are right now. You can look at a bowl, a smoothie, a little cup of yogurt, and you can actually see what's coming. You know what a fast breakfast looks like, and you know how to slow it down. You're not memorizing a rule book. You're not banning foods. You're not living in fear of your own plate. You just understand the pattern now, and nobody can take that understanding back from you. That's the part I care about most, because this was never really about the oatmeal or the smoothie or the parfait. It was about that feeling. The fear of slowly losing control of your health, your energy, your independence, and the quiet relief of realizing you can steer it after all. Not with some miracle, not by giving up everything you love, just by making small, calm changes that work with your body instead of against it. So please hear this last part clearly. This is not about eliminating anything. It's not about a perfect diet or a life of restriction. You don't have to be flawless. You just have to learn to build a meal that burns slow instead of fast. Fiber, protein, a little fat. That's the whole secret. One steady breakfast at a time. And remember what I told you at the start. Your body is your own. Your response won't be identical to anyone else's. So use this as a guide. Keep working with the people who care for your health, and let your own results teach you what works for you. If this is the kind of explanation you've been waiting years for, calm, honest, no scare tactics, no magic pills, then let me be the one who keeps showing up for you. I make these breakdowns every single week, the things almost nobody takes the time to explain plainly to people our age. Subscribing is free. It takes 1 second, and it just means the next one finds you instead of getting lost. Consider that my standing invitation to keep this going together. And before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Out of these 3, which one caught you off guard? Which one have you been eating, thinking it was helping the whole time? Tell me down in the comments. Was it the oatmeal, the smoothie, or that little cup of yogurt? I read them, and I think you'll feel a little less alone when you see how many people just had the same realization you did. Now, I'm not going to leave you here with one idea and send you off. There's another video waiting for you on the screen right now, and the truth is, it picks up exactly where this one leaves off. If today gave you that first click of clarity, that next one will take it further than you expect. So don't let this be the moment you stop. The momentum you feel right now, that quiet sense of finally understanding, that's worth following. Go ahead and tap the video on your screen and let's keep going. I'll see you there.